Saihate ni Madou is a manga series that ventures dangerously close to the line of, like, is this too dark? Should this even be a manga? And the reason for that is because the content within this series is legitimately just uncomfortable feeling. And don't get me wrong, I feel like there is always a place for uncomfortable literature because I feel like, a writer shouldn't be limited to, like, maybe if they want to dive into darker aspects of, reality. For instance, what happened with Oshinoko episode 6 with Akane. It speaks for itself. That entire conversation around that episode is very important, despite how uncomfortable it is to see just, like, stories centered around it. And so, Saihate ni Madou is something that, like I said, does venture very close into that type of territory of darkness. And even for me, as someone that has read a lot of different stories over the years, someone that has really ventured in to some dark, depressing manga, this one's interesting, and it just started coming out, like, it was announced here. I'm just gonna let you see the synopsis. The description just speaks for itself. Like, I feel like the description here really just says everything you need to know about it, and why I just said, like, it goes into that realm of uncomfortable nature. And it's very clear just by the way the description is why people would not actually want to read this. It makes perfect sense. Now, this is something that does need to be stated. Even though there is a lot of literature like this one that goes into the realm of just very uncomfortable, there is reasons, like, I feel like some writers should be able to do this. I feel like writers should be able to, talk about things that are very uncomfortable or unsettling or too realistic or whatever, and this is one of those type of series. I feel like it's one of those stories that just really makes you wonder, how did the author come up with this, but also just, like, is it actually going to be good and tell a story that is really engaging, or will it just be edgy? That is the question that comes to mind. Now, apparently there is 2 chapters currently out of it. I have not read this series yet. I have not sat down and dedicated time to reading it. I was just like, I saw this series in my feed, and I was just heavily debating if I should, like, even talk about this series, because the content within it obviously is just, yeah, it's messed up. Like, that really is the word that kind of summarizes the entire mood around this. Like, seriously, like, when I saw this, when I first saw the cover, like, the art, I was like, oh, yo, this looks kind of, the artwork looks very beautiful. That was my first impression of it. Like, the artwork really drew me in, and then I read the synopsis, like, whoa, what in the hell what is that? So it's just like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this really just is one of those series I saw on my feed I wanted to talk about. I've been told from people that have read this that it's apparently good. Like, I know there's been discussions on it, people saying that legitimately is an enjoyable first and second chapter. I don't know, though. Like I said, I haven't read it myself. But, it just, yeah, I wanted to bring this to people's attention. It brings up a very good question, once again, like a hardline question, like, can manga be too dark? I guess that's a question. And at the same time, is it fine to have these topics because it's uncomfortable? Personally, I feel like there should be freedom of expression with, literature, being able to, write stories that are obviously dark, like the Akane story. That's my dog you're hearing barking, forgive me on that one. But basically, she's gonna kill me. She's trying to get attention. I'll give her attention after this video. But, anyways, I will say that, basically, I do think the freedom of expression for, just literature in general should be there. It's why I think the Akane stuff that happened with episode 6 of Oshinoko was very important, because it tackled a conversation that people don't want to talk about, that's taboo, but does happen. It's reality. And so I feel like there's always a place for stories like that. So I'm just curious, how do you all feel about that? Like, how do you feel about the synopsis of this series? Will you actually be checking this out, or not? I'm legit curious. I really am. But I'll leave it at that. This little one is crying behind me. I'm gonna need to go give her some attention. So I'll talk to y'all later. You have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe. Stay healthy. Chibi out.